There's got to be something with that
Thank you for
Facebook
helping.
update.
As always, like this is.
Well,
But it was doing it before I updated it too.
I think people are really gonna enjoy it again. I'm like, I love it.
I don't
Every-
see
every
anybody
week
having
I'm like-
one.
Somebody's like, "What are you doing on Wednesday?"
There's
I'm
one.
Like, you know what I'm doing
I'm
on
going to watch this
Wednesday.
live feed.
Can anybody comment to see if we have
Hey, Grant, hop on.
voices? Can anybody hear us?
Normally he's always on. He's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
turn that down."
There we go. I got the light on
Oh.
there. All right, we're going. So I'm standing right by the camera, so I think Facebook's update jacked up the audio. So
Very good.
of course it's fine when I'm right here.
Yeah, let me know how that-
But
let
now-
us know- let us know how it sounds.
You just sat down.
I'm just gonna go there. It's got the weird sound on it.
It's like it slowed it down. It's not gonna work.
No.
Mm.
You gonna hear me? No, he was hearing. You were hearing right by the phone.
Oh,
I just can't. You can't hear the microphone.
Look how blurry it is.
Oh, sorry guys. Sorry.
anybody here? Right next to the mic. Mic is on.
Does it sound right to you guys out there listening? Because I think Facebook's really jacked this up today.
Yeah.
Nah, he sounds good on yours. It's not blurry anymore.
It's not blurry, but the
Now just got interrupted.
whoop. Yeah, it's still not picking up the mic.
It's not picking up the mic.
Mm-mm. But it was picking up the mic.
Unplug it and re-plug it or something.
Ugh. This is weird. It's better not.
It is on.
Yeah. Mic is on.
That's re-plugged in.
Where's your
Which one is mine?
Man, I shouldn't have eaten
What, Crazy Rev?
that. That crazy bread is on it. Oh.
It's really good today.
Mic is on.
Can't hear them though, can you?
We'll have to maybe.
Hey, let's try this other mic one more time. I don't
Yeah.
know where we can.
It's
No, I'd have to plug it right in here.
Oh shit.
not with the extent. Oh crap!
Well,
yes.
yeah. Hold up. Because then you could just have it back here.
Trying to figure out the microphone issue.
Oh shit. We might be some scholars over here.
Battling this for hours.
Fuck it.
Yeah, zip tie?
Yes, sir.
It sounded like it was working okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to zip tie this camera equipment.
That's how we do it around here.
I love this zip tie. I will zip tie anything.
I can hear his.
Shoot. Shit, I'll zip tie somebody's bad attitude if.
You got it?
Yeah.
Well, he's right by the mic for us.
Got 6 people
Yeah,
that are watching like a
he's
mime show.
zip tying it to the tripod.
Let's try that and see.
No one commented they could hear?
They're saying they can
Yeah.
hear.
Well, if y'all can hear it, we'll
We're just
Not
gonna.
real sure what's.
Oh,
have to go right
it's got
in
the
here.
wrong.
Right here.
Oh,
Alright.
check. We're just gonna test this right quick before we finish these zip ties.
Facebook's
never mind.
sucking today.
All right, is that better?
We'll go over there.
We're on a delay.
We'll do something over there.
Oh. Picking up pretty well.
That was about 15 seconds.
So far.
Let's just roll with that one.
Yeah, well,
Because that's that one plugged in.
Just speak loud.
If that's not it, then we'll just continue it and let it roll.
Yay or nay?
Food, where's the food? Hey, Charles.
We got pizza and breadsticks.
Tell Charles that he can sponsor us for next time. Charles would love some of your white shoe collection. I guarantee you, he's got a lineup of them.
He might be switching though.
He's not switching.
He might switch. I got a picture. Charles. Yeah. Skechers. I have a picture for
Skechers are nice.
documentation.
I know there's a delay, but I'm just gonna go ahead and talk to you like I'm standing in front of you, Charles. If you do that, I will come and we will do like a glamour shot of that, and I will do the best photos anyone has ever seen of the white shoes. Like anybody, Jax Teller has nothing on us.
There it is. He says he's gonna give these a test run to see if he likes them.
No, because they're not white. That's not cool. They need to be white, a little bit of gray, maybe a little bit of blue, but the majority of the shoe, you have to get that grass stain white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, grass stain white.
Freshly cut grass.
Anyway, how many we have watching now?
We go back here.
Alright. How do you get that?
Oh,
Oh.
Lord.
Do what?
I think we're good though. I can hear it in here.
Alright, so we'll
Alright. We're gonna send it.
That's perfect.
better than
Alright.
it was.
Yeah.
Bing bang boom.
You can't even watch it. You just
I
so
just want to try one
Really?
thing.
it's so delayed.
Oh yeah. Busy wearing headphones, throwing spears. So
I love the spears. Crazy change up.
My freaking goodness.
We have spent.
Here we go, folks.
We spent like 2-3 hours trying to figure this out. Then turns out it's Facebook.
It's all blurry and stuff.
Oh, that's
It's like wearing a mask in the car by yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Give me 1 second.
Boy, it is.
Yeah, I can probably.
it feels so good.
You may cut the AC back on?
Maybe try it on low.
I was wondering if it would.
We don't need it, y'all. You know.
I was wondering if it would mess things up. I didn't know.
Worked through one shirt today.
That's working.
By the way, I really like watching you post at people, like posting at people.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that.
What, like?
The marketing stuff.
Oh.
No. There's a couple
But is it like underlying jabs?
No.
No.
Mostly at people we need.
No, there was a couple where it was like soapbox posts. Yeah, like those. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I've been getting on that one lately. I'm tired of bullshit.
Hey, Forrest says we are clear now.
You're cool.
All right.
Clear. I guess everything hopefully for us.
Hey,
But he'll.
I turned the input around, so
Okay.
maybe that might have done it.
Yeah.
Good deal. Just because it's blurry, I'm about to record a second one. Just to make sure. But
It goes in and out a little bit.
I know. I've got a meeting with Zuckerberg in the morning. We'll have to discuss this.
Me and Kyle
Do what?
I
have
said,
a funny.
I got a meeting with Mark in the morning. We'll discuss this.
Me and Kyle were gonna have a funny. We'll always say, got $10,000 or $12,000 of camera gear in the car. Uses iPhone.
Hey, I need.
Whatever
What
works.
you started out?
No, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got this big old bag on, you got this huge lens in your hand, and you're there standing beside the car taking a picture with iPhone.
Yeah.
It's the perfect balance.
I think he was at my work a couple weeks ago at driving school.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure like, that looks like that Kyle guy.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he was.
I want to cast it too much.
We have some,
It was gonna come up, but yeah, you know you want to. You know you wanna go ahead and share that.
We had the-
I shared it. I want to be like cast it to the TV. That would be cool.
oh yeah. We had the celebrities that worked today for the program.
Oh, very nice.
King Griffey Jr. was apparently there.
He's an amazing photographer. I don't know if you guys know that about him. King Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
He decided to start taking photos on his son. Actually, it was probably before his son went to college, but his son started going to college doing sports.
I'm playing professional.
I think he is. And he ended up, I mean, he's got money about whatever, but like companies were sending him like real gear. and you're looking down the photographer line,
Mhm.
and then you see
him.
Ken Griffey Jr. just standing there with like this huge lens, and I mean he's out there working it too. How we sounding, guys?
You can put it in the
Robert
freezer.
Johnson is also a great photographer.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
The old Diamond Fact picture.
Johnson.
Robert Johnson, what is it?
Water.
I'm gonna do one of them.
We got Gatorades. They're not cold yet.
What's your favorite color? I'll put it in the freezer.
It doesn't matter. Gatorade.
All right. So I sincerely apologize for Mr. Mark Zuckerberg's delay. Hopefully they get their stuff. There was a bunch of people reporting outages and stuff. But nonetheless, to get started with this blurry live feed, we have Grant Bentley, as always, Mr. Ben Howard returning again, and then special guest today is Mr. Shaun from SD Racing. So we see how you post all the time. A lot of us like to follow, like to watch what you do. You're one of the few people around here that does like Subarus and imports and stuff.
Yeah.
So just tell everybody kind of what you do at SD, and then we'll get started into that.
So, I mean, really a little bit everything. We say we don't specialize in anything, in anything, but if we do, it's going to be Subarus. For, all-wheel drive chassis dyno, there's a reason why we have it. When I had my Evo as a daily driver, I got tired of driving between either Charlotte or Atlanta trying to find tuning.
Right.
So I said, what better way than buy my own dyno and start off. So, Subarus, I mean, they're still making WRXs, STIs, so of course, and they make, plenty of them, and they break all the time, so why not? So there'd be some amount of domestics, I'd say, mostly Subaru, then next most would be Mopar, then GM. After that would be Nissan, and then Ford would probably be the fifth most. But we don't do many European stuff because a lot of special tools that you need to work on European cars, and right now, we do enough and service enough that we feel we're good. We got a good niche, and maybe one day we'll go with some European stuff. But right now, we'll tune them if we've got support through it with either Cobb Access Sports or HP Tuners is now adding a lot of support for a lot of European cars, so if there's an opportunity there, we'll tune them. But a lot of the mechanical work we defer to other shops around the area that we know and trust that can take care of stuff.
Okay.
That was easy.
No Vanos replacement.
No,
I've done it before. I don't want to do it again.
Grant's done them.
Yeah, they're not bad. Well, but that's what I meant. Just BMWs. So if you do need have a BMW, send it to me and Casey, and we'll knock it out for sure. So you tune Mopars.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've
God almighty.
for the love.
It was on
So
silent mode or whatever.
you never really hear much about people tuning Mopars, or it's like somebody needs a Mopar tune, but there's people way out that do it. So why is it so rare that Mopar tuning?
Couple different reasons. I think the first reason would be it's a lot more expensive on parts
Okay.
to modify a Mopar. I mean, you compare. Well, I'd say last year before, not this year, because prices are going through the roof with metal prices. But just camshaft alone, you get a camshaft in any GM, $299, $350. Mopars are $700, $800
Okay.
out the gate. All the drivetrain stuff is more expensive. And really, I think it's just because they started making the Gen 3 Hemis early 2000s, where the LS started late 90s.
Yeah.
So, and there's still a lot more LS stuff out there than there is Mopar. There has been, and I think always will be, more LS, more modifications of LS than Mopar, and especially when it comes to, I think, just daily driving, street driving, light performance. Now,
Right.
when you go to drag racing the big boys, it's Hemis all day long because the engines make power and the LS can't do what the Hemis do. And when it comes to tuning them, I wouldn't say any car is any more difficult than another car, another make model, or anything like that. They've just got a lot different nuances that if you're just focused on doing GM or just focused on doing Ford, they do a lot of weird things in Mopars that you can get away with in a GM or a Ford that you can't get away with on a Mopar.
What's a Mopar? It's all like a the global something, or the neural network or something like
Yes.
that.
They
It's weird.
The neural network.
when the VBT cards.
It's like a
2010
monitoring
plus.
thing or something.
Oh.
What it does is it, and I have a very vague understanding of it because I have not jumped into it. Because typically when I tune a car, I turn that car off.
I think everybody does. Yeah.
I think everyone does, especially once you go to cam or power adders. It's a very long, tedious process to do it with the neural networking. I don't have, and a lot of people don't have. There are a few folks that do. They have a great understanding of it, but as far as what it does, because there are different layers of it and corrections and things it does behind the scenes that, you know, we're talking a small change could have a huge global effect and sometimes be the wrong way.
In the
And
neural
you-
network?
Yeah, and you chase your tail on it.
Okay. So when you do that, the neural network tries to correct what you just did? Is that what
It fights you.
Okay.
So, you know, some of the big things with it is you can't really dial in your airfield ratio with volumetric tables. So you can't dial in there. It's always going to run when it wants to run. You plug in your target airfield ratio, and it typically runs that line on its own because it's looking at fuel flow, airflow, exhaust pressure coming out with cat efficiency and whatnot to determine how much actual airflow is going up in there to make the adjustments on its own.
Okay. Now, do you tune that through? Is that like HP tuners or?
We use HP tuners and Diablos.
Okay, Diablo.
So it just depends on what the customer wants. You know, HP tuners is just a cable. You don't need a handheld. Sometimes people want handhelds, and they go to Diablo Sport, where they have two of them. We use the Trinity T2 now it is, and then the
No more predators.
Predators.
Jump.
I
Predators
saw
are
the
horrible.
Trinity. I saw the Trinity being used.
Yeah, Predators were great, you know, old school beginning part of it. I say old school.
Didn't they?
They did. I mean, they were big in the late '90s, early 2000s because that's what model was out there. But
Yeah.
really, I mean, the technology, processing capability of the handheld and between the T2 and the Intune i3 is just worlds beyond what anything a Predator can do.
Right. I like them with bars, but they are more expensive. I built a couple of them myself now. I sold every single one of them. As soon as I get done with them, I keep it for like a week and then I sell it.
Any I just had a brain fart. No, do you do any like, I'd say, fuel tech or anything like that?
I don't. The standalones we use right now, I can do Holly Dominator. Haven't really done much of it, but I can do it.
Yeah. Popular.
AM, the V1, V2, and the Infinities. Haltech, I'd say, is my favorite between all of it. It's the same user interface software between the different models that they have, and I like how they have it laid out because it's similar to a lot of the other tuning programs that I have where everything's on a tab on one side of it versus tabs across the top. I just like the layout and how it is. There's not much I have to do working-wise with the layout of it to get what I want out of it. We also do Mega Squirts, Micro Squirt, which is essentially the same ECU. Done some of the EFI conversion stuff like PhyTech, the Fast Easy EFI,
Yeah.
and the the Holly Sniper.
And you have a all-wheel drive dyno?
All-wheel drive test done
So how long have you had that?
since 2015.
Okay. So
That's the only one in this area. I think there's one in Charlotte, right?
Is
There's a
is
place
that
in
your
Charlotte.
one?
There, so the ones that are around, there's one in Rock Hill, and there is one in Spartanburg, company that we work with. They basically use it for R&D purposes. They don't really do any commercial tuning or anything like that. They mainly R&D for parts.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Maybe
Years
Charlotte.
ago.
Yeah. You'll need an all-wheel drive dyno.
Years ago, it was like.
Yeah, I didn't hear Honda on that list.
What we do, I mean, Hondata, but I don't really consider Hondata a standalone. I mean, you could say the S300 or
K-Pro.
the K-Pro as a standalone, but really they still use a stock ECU just with an extra board.
Probably eventually switch out to Infinity or Haltech or something. But
And Hondata is good for what it is. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
a lot of the resolution and the parameters and the flexibility you have with it isn't there because of it's still dealing with a 90s ECU.
yeah.
It's been around for a long time.
Yeah. And it's more so the processing power of the factory ECU that ends up being the bottleneck versus what the board's capable of doing.
Yeah, like now you can, with certain ECUs, you're able to tune off of the cell phone on the fly in certain parameters as to where Honda is just now catching up to that as far as the K-Pro goes, or flashing it. So
there's this place in Tennessee that does diesel trucks, and you can, Matt's got it on his, so it's got like a dial, like a boost dial, right?
Yeah.
But you can just go on your laptop or your phone and Bluetooth, and you can upload, like you can just scroll through other people's tunes and snag one and like load it right to your car, just like that, just like that. Same.
I was nervous about that one.
Yeah.
check it out. This is what that ends up being right here. It's like, I'm not.
Head gasket, rocks and blonde.
Nah, could you imagine a Honda or a Mustang or anything? Somebody just got their car, they got some bolt-ons, or they just got that turbo kit. Yo, tonight we're not losing. We're not losing tonight. We're going to the moon.
Number 5. Yeah.
I want all of it.
I would think
Put Eric's tune in tonight.
I don't do all this, but I would think the big difference between tuning like a factory PCM versus something like a Dominator is if you get 20 factory PCM cars, they're all, like everything in there is all the same. It's all the same. But if you get 20 Dominator cars, then you've got 20 cars where people have got trans brakes wired different, and you've got
Because the
solenoid
amount
wired
of inputs you
different.
can have and where you can do the inputs, because when you've got unlimited, well, I say unlimited inputs, but multiple
I mean, I think it's tagged.
um,
Oh, good.
anybody can set up anyway, but as long as as long as you got it in the correct channel, whether it's a digital, analog, or whatever, it'll work. But it's like which one you have, and I'll have it in number 4 input, and then it's not working. You trace it, and it's in a different input or a different output.
Well, they got them wrong, because in the haulage, you choose if you want it negative, positive, you want it pulse width, what you want.
And sometimes the premium wiring harnesses, adapter harnesses and whatnot, sometimes they've got wires, pins flipped.
They always.
Man, that one right there, that right there could be a t-shirt. I can't tell you how many times somebody sends a custom wire harness that can be mil-spec or however they've done it. It's this beautiful harness, and then when you plug it in, it's like, I'm gonna have to repin this thing.
So I don't do I do full chassis harnesses, but not very often, but most of the time, like strictly just nitrous. And we test everything, like all sitting on that bench before it gets shipped out. And I take a video of everything working. So when the customer, like, they'll say, hey, this isn't working, or the setup isn't working, just send them the video.
It's just to cover your ass.
Like,
I mean,
well, it was. So
Yeah.
now call me and let's figure out what you've done. Like with install, maybe 9 times out of 10 they don't put it's the simplest thing. There's like a main power that will go to like a distribution block. They never put it on there. So they'll wire up like a 20 gauge switch 12 volt, and they expect it to power everything in the whole nitric kit.
I saw some of your wiring on that table just recently. In fact, a little sneak picture or something like that. It looked good. Looked good.
Good at nitrous.
Yeah.
I've done. I like doing. Yeah. The full cars are a task for me. I really don't care for this one, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Wiring is not something I enjoy. It always takes longer than I planned it to be, and
I did a harness for a Mopar shop. I do a couple of them for Demon Performance.
I know.
They'll send me. I don't want to say it on here. So they'll send me some stuff and I do it for them.
Okay.
But nonetheless. So how did you get into the Subaru type stuff and the road racing? Because that's different. A lot of people, everyone around here is in drag racing,
Yeah.
except for like y'all and a couple other people.
So it started out, it's something that my father and I always talked about doing. He'd always talked about wanting to get on a car, go on track, and do that. And he hasn't ended up doing anything. And it got to a point I was frustrated with a few things in my life around it, and I ended up having don't make fun of me, but I had Silent TC I started out with. So 2009, I decided, I'm done with it, I'm going to go do it.
Share this gateway.
Yeah.
Oh, they jump back in on me.
But I just went and I got hooked at that point.
So
And
Road Atlanta?
Road Atlanta. I went with National Sports Association, Southeast Region. They every December, first weekend of December, they have a Toys for Tots room.
Yeah.
So they do a big charity drive for Toys for Tots, and then of course they have a track event. It's usually a year-end thing. So anybody that has done any racing with them that year, or whether it be wheel to wheel, time trial, that's usually the last points weekend. So championships for the Southeast region end up getting finalized that weekend, and go from there. So I just decided one day I'm doing it, and that's that.
So your first road course experience was Road Atlanta.
Road Atlanta.
You didn't do like the parking lot all
Nope.
across before you went straight
No,
to
straight Road Atlanta.
Now, how was it? That was in the Scion. How was it coming down? I can't remember the name of the turn.
Turn 12 down the hill.
Down the hill in there. I've seen so many videos, and I've had cars where people go in and eat crap.
So it wasn't that bad with that car. I mean, you get nervous. I mean, the first time out there, you're overwhelmed with what's going on.
Yeah.
So first time being out there is I'm looking dead in front of me. I'm not paying attention to anything else. My instructor was a great instructor, and he's like, hey, you don't have to hit the brakes until here, and
What's like still here?
I got over the fear real quick of hitting the wall and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I'm safe enough. I'm confident enough. I can.
You gotta trust the tires.
Well, trust the tires, the car, and like I said, I had an instructor with me, so it's trusting that he knows what he's talking about, that the car can do way more than what I'm capable of at this point. So really my first 3 or 4 track weekends was at Road Atlanta, and I ended up getting soloed at the end of my second weekend there. But,
That is Road Atlanta coming down.
yeah.
Oh man.
Got soloed after that, and that's when I started kind of pushing the car on myself a little bit. And then 2010, around Halloweenish, that's when I got rid of the Siren and picked up the Evo. Took that a couple times, and then it really snowballed into what it is now.
Yeah.
And really, I don't have.
It's not a street car.
I mean, you can drive on it in South Carolina. You can drive on the street as long as it's got a tag on it.
Yeah.
But the last time I drove it, I have a set of Fortunato coilovers. They're 15K in the rear, 14K in the front. Every bump I felt on the road.
15,000 pounds?
Well, 15 kilograms.
Oh.
Sorry, it's like a.
Yeah.
I was confused.
Yeah.
No, it's I forget.
I got 80-pound springs in the front of mine.
But they're not fun to go on the street. Now the track, still working out the damping and whatnot. I mean, it's very compliant, does exactly what I wanted. And as I've gotten more confident as a driver, turn 12, it really hasn't scared me. I am very aggressive coming down 12.
Yeah.
So much so that before I put the aero coilers on the car, I mean, I was at the apex of the turn, data said 105 miles an hour on street tires. So
Which one's turn 12? Come around the
that's
back?
down the hill to the front straight
to the front
right.
straight.
Oh,
Yeah.
coming back across the front.
Yeah, come back across the
The
front.
right-hand turn.
Yeah, you take that right, but a lot of people go like that.
And well, what it is they don't. It's usually newer people to the track, and they don't. There's 3 colors on the bridge as you go up the hill to come down the hill. And if you're not paying attention to that and you go too far out, when you come over the hill, the track drops away from you. So if you're too far to the left, when you come up the hill, you're on the rumbles, and then usually in the grass because you're loading up the car already for the turn.
So are the colors on the bridge funny? 'Cause I never even.
You've got
Look.
yellow, red, and I think it's yellow, red, green.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So green, you're good, but if you're in the red.
Well, when it was in the middle,
spot.
I line up through the middle. Some people lean a little bit to the left to get a harder dig for the turn. I lean for the middle because I want straight up and over with as little slide in the car as I can.
Yeah.
I set up there's a bump right before turn or right at turn in. So I'll give the wheel a yank to the right before that bump. So I'll start the loaded suspension as soon as I hit the bump, compresses everything, loads up harder, and then I'm back on the throttle.
Once it compresses and he hits that bump, he's basically digging.
I'm committed,
in.
and I'm committed.
Yeah.
If I've done it wrong, I am
Yeah.
contingencies.
It's sent. Yeah, it's sent. What happens.
How many G's do you think it pulls around like the tightest turn up there? You know?
The most G's I've pulled in the car so far is 1.6.
That's a lot. I feel like
The car's capable of more. and that was around the highest G corner is turn 6. So that is after you go through the S's up the hill,
Yeah.
left-hander, there's a short shoot. That next corner, you got a right and then a sharp right turn 7 before back straightaway. So the next to last corner before back straightaway, that's the highest G corner on the track because it's a banked turn.
Yeah.
You can't really tell it in the car,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll feel it, and if you walk the track, you'll see how much banking there is.
Okay. So is that the only big track you've done so far?
No, I've been a decent amount of time in Carolina Motorsports Park,
Okay.
Dummer Kershaw.
Kink.
Um,
Well,
yeah,
what was the kink? It's not really. Is it the same though?
well, I haven't been there since I resurfaced it.
I can't wait to drive it.
Don't people drift that track?
Carolina?
No, that's VIR. That's VIR.
Yeah, VIR.
I think they have had a drift event in Carolina before.
Man, that track is so fun. Oh goodness.
It's.
If you mess up, you're gonna pay that track. I would say it's similar to Roebling as far as like there's not a lot of room for error.
Yeah.
Very
Ro-
good out there.
Roebling, though, the trees are a lot closer than.
Oh yeah,
What track is that?
Roebling Road.
Where's
Down
that?
Oh, yeah.
Georgia.
Okay.
Man,
That's a very high speed rolling. That's a real rhythm track.
Okay. Have you been to VIR? How's that?
One time. It was fun. Little nerve wracking going up through the upper S's. And at that time, car made 320 to the tire. It was still on street tires. Stock
What's the name
suspension.
now?
Well, when it goes back together, it should be between 550 and 600 max.
I don't even tell people that I put my car back together anymore because I'm tired of hearing myself say it.
I look at it every day, and I'm like, maybe. We'll see.
I hate the idea of thinking is it together, or people asking, hey, put another transmission in it yet, or how's that clutch going, or.
Mine is the engine is together on a stand. I just don't really feel like putting it in right now.
So,
Somebody's already said something. I have no
Does he
idea what
push
it is.
the car?
nah,
I know where he's going. We ain't gonna get.
I don't know. I don't have nothing against that other guy. That's a badass race car that ran Tracy. That's for
Yeah.
sure. I like that car a lot. I don't even know the guy that owns it, but I don't know if he pushed it. I don't know if he pulled it. I don't know if he drove it. I don't know if it came on a rollback, but I know Tracy riddled it by like 3 seconds.
Horrible.
You know, I think I got more hate for that
He did not
video
run. He only outrun.
than anybody actually in that race. I got so many messages. That video got 26,000 views. 26,000 views in a week and 200 plus messages were like, all that and you read it, or why didn't you tell us more about it, or anything like that? And I'm like, great, why didn't you tell us who won? I'm like, well,
Hey,
we
really?
didn't see that red light.
You see who won.
I mean, I almost put the camera down when you read it, but I knew that, there was a lot going on.
I wish
was
they
just
had
like,
still run it back. Like Tracy obviously paid up, but I wish they had still gone back and run it back again.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, there was so much suspense in that,
Dude,
like standing
I
around.
think it was
awesome.
late. I was there, but I heard it was like after.
I bet
It was like right at 10, and I'm surprised that old Logan Terry that runs the staging lanes let them run.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I had no idea that it was gonna be that long. That's when we got there, I got there, and they were already on the live feed, and Noe was up
Yeah.
at the fence.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he jumped in with both feet.
I have a lot, and I'll tell you guys on the stream, I have a lot more of that video than I didn't put in.
Yeah.
There was a lot more.
Understood.
That's good. That's
What's
good.
What's the FMU?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Brandon,
Somebody said,
Wait, old school
Brandon Granger said,
FMU?
bring back the
Brandon
FMU.
Granger said,
I know
bring back the
exactly what
FMU.
he's talking about. So that's that old school FMU you put under the hood.
Oh,
And it was-
no. No.
Yeah.
That thing's those are paperweights, door stops.
What is it?
What is it? Fuel management unit.
Fuel management.
Sounds like
It's
a
a piggyback.
Yeah.
Basically, what
Oh, it's a
it
booster pump from the 90s.
no, it's
It's-
signal interrupter.
Yeah, that and things like the JNS safeguard, where it basically told the engine there is no knock. So they paid a good bit of money for these things. They're just like, we don't want knock, but we can't get around it. So you're gonna buy the JNS safeguard. It's gonna make your car safe.
Yeah, what all it did was just remove all the safeguards.
So I missed it. How much? When it goes back together,
At
how much power?
lowest setting on a 20-pound spring, it should make uncorrected on the dyno, and weather correction is what it is on whatever day it is. It should make between 450 and 470 on 20 pounds. And on 30 pounds, it should make upwards of 550 to 600. And I'm not going to run pump ethanol in it. I'm going to get either 1R ethanol or who is it that supports global time attack?
Trying to remember who that is.
What's it about, E85?
Ignite,
That's what you
Ignite,
run?
E85. Yeah, that car's strictly ethanol.
Put it on M1.
I see
I'm
you at
ethanol. I don't have that much injection.
I see you on like E98 or something like that, like a.
Renegade makes an E85, I believe, too.
I've thought about it, but I spoke with the guy who runs Ignite, and he said just run an Ignite, and I haven't tested it, so I'll see when I do it. It's good for, he said I could probably have between 2 to 5 degrees of timing above and beyond what pump will do. So figure that should be another 20 to 50 horsepower in that range safely above what pump ethanol can do.
Ready Blue.
No.
That must have been a Honda thing. I don't know what that is.
Ready?
I know what the ready is. I don't know what the ready
No.
Blue is.
No piggybacks no more. No piggybacks.
I already see.
Piggybacks are dead and gone. They need to be at least.
Yeah, I mean-
and that's just my opinion.
Well, with technology right now, I mean, the things that you could do off of the old, let's just say you got an old cell phone, you still have more power in that old, iPhone 876. I have a 7 literally. I'm not gonna get rid of it. It's just there for a rainy day. But no, you have more power in those than you do any kind of piggyback through 2010.
And I mean, back 2010 and newer, or older, that was the only way you could really do it, because nobody had the technology and the standalone ECUs that were available at that time were very difficult for the general consumer to not just get a hold of, but to install and know how to use it, work with it with themselves, as opposed to having to actually go to a professional shop that could install and do it. And even if there was some troubleshooting, it was very complex on what you had to do with them to get them to do what you wanted them to do, and the processing power just wasn't there. So the piggyback was an inexpensive way. Like I said, all it is a signal interrupter and manipulator. All it is it's reading match signal coming in. You say, I want to, per whatever voltage is going in, this is how much I want to multiply it by to add fuel and stuff like that. Then it'll go to injectors. It'll say, here's how much. It can tell roughly how much it's coming in. If it does have an input for the stock injector, sometimes it just ditch the whole stock wiring harness on the injector and have their own. Sometimes will be feedback back and forth. It'll read how much it's supposed to do and then multiply by this much. Same thing with the turbo. We're gonna and it'll report back to the ECU on the feedback loop that, hey, we are actually in this area that we're supposed to be, even though we're pushing our car harder. So essentially the ECU doesn't know it because it still thinks it's running what it was designed to do, and you're manipulating the signals going in and out to get your desired result.
Were they plug and play or was it wired in?
Some of them plug and play, other ones you had to wire in.
That's not really matter.
It's a lot of them.
NFC?
Yeah, the old school, the MAF clamps that you can put on there, and it's just
How do y'all do now? Y'all still use, like on your car, you still use a mass airflow?
no.
Call speed density?
So, well, speed density on the race car. I mean, mass airflow and speed density have their both advantages and disadvantages. Turbo cars, I prefer to do speed density because if you blow an intercooler pipe off, it was a MAF car. As soon as you blow a pipe off there, you're not going to have the airflow going to the engine that the MAF sensor says you're going to have.
Right.
Therefore, car doesn't run. You run speed density, you blow an intercooler pipe off, the car is going to run naturally aspirated. And it'll still run, get you where you want to, so you're not stuck on the side of the highway. So when I first got the Evo, I know many Subaru owners did this too. I'd carry a bag of couplers, a tool bag of couplers, clamps, 8, 10, 12, 14 wrenches, anything needed if I blow off an intercooler pipe on the highway to put one back on and get me where I need to go, even if it meant putting zip ties around the coupler because I ran out of clamps.
You done that?
Yeah,
Sounds like
to get up to the next exit to get to an auto parts store to get a clamp.
So when you went from the the Scion
Yeah, and
Nest chassis. Did you know you wanted an Evo, or were there a couple in
I've,
there?
I've wanted an Evo since they came over here.
Okay.
I was in college watching on StreetFighter.net,
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
AMS Evo in Chicago, tearing everybody's ass up.
Okay.
Ever since that car came over, I mean, I'd liked them since before, you know, video games, Gran Turismo, stuff like that. So, you know, all the cars we could never get at the time on the video game.
Now, was that before Too Fast, Too Furious?
Yeah.
that
Hey, where'd you get that Evo?
No, yeah, I'm not from. I mean, I watched the movie. We all have. We're all guilty of it.
that I tell you right now, watching that AMS Evo when it had the Top Gun graphics
Yes.
out on the street, the parachute, that was pretty amazing. Buddy of mine actually has a really, really fast Evo. Edward Pagano, It's yellow.
Oh, yeah, I know. I know of it.
I shot that car for the cover of Turbo in 2008. I hauled ass down to Orlando.
He's not from here.
No, it's in Orlando, and he's Puerto Rican guy. Yeah. Funny story, you mentioned that. I'll bring it up, but we were trying to beat basically like a week of rain, and I had to shoot that in the back basically of this restaurant, and we shot it and made cover. The car at the time I think it made 1,000 horsepower at the time, or close to a street car, and it was unreal. I mean, 1,000 horsepower then in 2008, 2009, that was
It was more expensive then than it is now.
yeah.
Because now you can get the AMS Evo he's talking about, and even that yellow one. The AMS Evo ran a GT42, I believe, to run the low nines. Did they dip into the eights?
Yeah, so they dipped into the eights. I feel like it was 2010 when they dipped into the
Yeah.
eights, and then that car ended up just recently going to 7.7 or 7.8. I mean,
But
but it took
also,
them forever to jump into that 7.
and it's also on a smaller turbo than the GT42. Not their car, but other ones that have gone quicker
Yeah.
with turbo technology and the way it's
Wow,
gone. Yeah, I mean, just have small, no longer we're running compressor housings on a 4-cylinder this big to make the power. They're
Yeah.
normal-ish size for me.
What are they all?
It's all
like
relative.
T4 flames?
Looks, yeah, T4, and some of them were using V-Man.
They were big ass turbos to run what they needed to run.
Yeah.
How much you think those cars weigh? How much is your car weigh?
Mine,
That's not a secret.
no, I don't care. Mine, dry, fuel, I don't want to say dry, empty full tank of gas, it weighs 2850
Without you.
without me in it. No, I'm not going to tell you how much it is with me in it.
That's like, I mean,
I think that's heavy.
And
for that car,
well, for road course, not necessarily. If it was a drag car, yes, it would be heavy.
Who's the guy at the shop? Area 51. It's got the Porsches.
Oh, Pete.
What's his name? No,
Pete,
John. John.
Oh yeah, John. He's a patent attorney. John.
hey, I need his,
Crap, I can't remember his last name.
I need his job.
But I will butt in just for a minute.
He's a patent attorney.
Yeah. Oh, he's.
I didn't know he was. Well, I knew he was an attorney. I didn't know he was a patent attorney.
Yeah, we'll butt in just for a minute.
Take note of
Perkins.
that.
Quite a few comments up. I know
Great.
Forrest asking about
Perkins.
John Perkins. You know him?
Perkins.
He races like 80s Porsches.
But he does like a stock spec class. So,
Not bad.
okay.
That sounds fun.
So-
So we got on comments.
Forrest asked about, Darren, of course, X4 Outlaws. Yes, Forrest, please. You need to come to this race. Bring Josh with you. I know he's getting really big into the drag racing stuff and some sweet cars and whatnot. But so big races this weekend. Friday night at Union Dragway, 864 Outlaws. You want to see some bad hot rods get down? You better be there. And Darren actually just got his car back from Matt. They did some setting up on it. Looked like it brought it down maybe a little bit. But Matt, Forrest, if you want to see a seriously bad car, you need to see Darren's car get down in Union. So we got that. Ben's going to be out there shooting. I can only imagine it'll be a killer video after it's all said and done. I mean, which no doubt it won't be.
Thank you for that. I
yeah.
appreciate it. Man.
And are you coming? So you're coming to Union
I'm gonna come Friday night.
Friday night? All right.
That's it. I'm gonna leave my office and.
We're leaving at 5. I think we're going to take Redford's car. So
Okay.
if anyone wants to trailer down or ride down,
Yeah.
I like to ride down in pairs, but I don't like to do it first. I like someone else take it here.
Is Darren gonna take it easy on Go-Kart?
I don't know.
How long are we gonna, or how long is it down here? Like, what's the?
About 40.
To get there?
No, I mean like the timeline of the night. I'm interested.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it'd be a good few hours. It should be a good time. For
Yeah,
sure.
I look
excited.
forward to it, and I hope that a lot of people
Yeah.
get to go.
Him, I know Buddy's gonna be there.
Are they showing times? Darren, are they showing times on the
I'm not
outlaw
sure.
list? I hope we show times.
Oh, wait, that's different. I'm not expecting that from you. I'm not trying to dig jabs or anything, I'm being
No.
honest.
Well, when they did the,
That kind of, like, I love a race no matter if it's no time
Well-
or not, but sometimes that kills it to go and not see a time for me. Like, it's
No.
like,
I'm not gonna say anything.
well, when they did the small cars, you got a rear, they
you
showed
don't let all the ammunition come towards me tonight.
I can accidentally offend people's hearing.
And actually, I think I saw Adam's been commenting. Adam, you gonna make it out to the 864 Outlaws race Friday night? That's another bad Fox body.
Adam.
Yep, Adam Green. He runs the Shaggy Side Outlaws.
Oh, nice.
They just painted it.
Yep.
What
So,
color?
It's a nice, pretty blue.
Nice. Can't wait to get that across my camera.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's gonna be some more. Hey, I'll tell you this. I don't want to be the only camera guy here. I don't want to be the only person here that's with a camera. You know, like a lot of people like stingy towards that. I'm not one of them people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. If you've got a page, if you've got a following, pick a race this weekend. I don't care which race it is. I hear there's a number of things going on this weekend, including this. Pick a race, go to it. Please.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long weekend. You got the 864 Outlaws, and you got Triggerman's race Saturday.
Yeah.
But it's Friday and Saturday, but I know a lot of road races are being locked in for Saturday night, like Jason X and a bunch of other people. And then back to Union for the front side no prep Sunday.
That's a long weekend, guys. I'm gonna try to make it.
I will be at more than probably one of them. Some of us have to work.
Laying the law down.
Yeah, we can't be doing that. So when's the car gonna be back together? That's what I want.
Right now, stuff for cars is more important.
I feel you. This thing sits in my head. Yeah. It's really frustrating. It's frustrating to be like that. So you get like 10 minutes to work on yours and you realize you gotta order something or you're missing something and that 10 minutes was just wasted.
Well, right now, luckily we've been, blessed to say that we're lucky. Business, we did real well last year despite COVID, and
Yeah.
we're happy and grew. This year we're usually June is when we kind of slow down for the summer, and we're booked solid for almost the entire month on everything. So
How often do y'all switch the shop? If you've never been there, it's
often.
I've been to a lot of shops in the area, and not all of them are swept. So I gotta be careful how I phrase stuff. So,
Can't say it like Ben Howard would say it.
If you've ever-
Shop is dirty.
yeah, people get mad. If you've ever been by SD Racing, it looks like a show car facility. A couple times I've been. Everything's got its place. Everything's put up. I know y'all sweep it every night.
No, usually we try. I mean, between myself, my tech John, we're the ones who are on the shop area the whole time. We do our best. Fluid hits the ground, we're gonna clean it up. Mainly because we don't want to step in ourselves.
Yeah.
And as far as the floor being swept, it really usually once a car leaves the bay, we'll sweep it out. Just because there's usually dust, debris, especially zip ties everywhere, cut wires and stuff like that from whatever we're doing. So we'll sweep them out at the end of it. It's more so anal retentive thing between us, because when new car comes in, if there's something wrong with it, if there's a bolt laying on the floor, did it go to this car? Did it go to the last car?
Right.
If there's something, something fell off or something hanging, something on the ground got dragged up, where did it come from? Was it from this car or that car? So really our big thing is to keep ourselves organized is why we do it. So when we're done working in the bay and, car gets finished, car moves out, he'll sweep it. If I'm working in the bay, I'll sweep it. After car comes in, it's how it's clean slate. You're not stepping in crap from before. You're not slipping on the ground. So, and then also it's reflected in the work we do. I'm just saying this is what we do.
I can't work like that. I've gotta have it clean. Or
I mean, there's some days like I'll come on the weekends and you know, the Saturdays that I'm there and either, you know, playing catch up from the week, or, you know, if I'll walk out in the shop and like, shit, I can't find anything I want to right now. I'll end up cleaning off whatever cart I have with tools. I'll put everything back in the box. Clean, you know, if I'm in the engine room, clean up the engine room. If I'm out in the shop, areas around the, especially around the dining room,
don't you?
Well, a clean room. I would love a negative pressure room for an engine room, but that's not going to happen for a while until we move to our own place.
There for a couple hours trying to.
We did
turn one.
Yeah, no.
This one got to be turned.
A
But
couple
turn
hours,
this
you
one.
mean
Turn this
Paul
one.
was ready to go to the track already? Like,
It took
He can accidentally put his car in together.
it took me a good while to just get the timing, you know, correct on and get it set up where it needs to be. Because on those ends, it's just the cams. You need two hands because one is a, you know, BBT engine, so one of the fissures, the arrow points up, the other one points down the other side, and then to pull the cams, get the dial pins to line up, and press it on there. And is it really on there? And make sure you give it a little wiggle on its turn. Like, no, it's not on there.
I'm over here
Just a little
sweating.
more.
They didn't like the LS cars.
No. LS easy to time. Easy to time. LS easy. I mean, any of the push rod engines is easy to time.
Yeah. But the cam in LS is like slotted converter.
I was gonna get.
Yeah. You know, Subarus with their 4 cams, it's one timing belt versus having two chains. Yeah. So it's one timing belt on the front end, except for the newer ones. It's two chains on the FA20s.
See what I'm saying?
I was gonna do a Subaru build, maybe like 6 years ago. It's a 2.5 RS, a buddy in my head. I was gonna pick it up. I already planned my engine for it. And instead of just a 2.0 or something like that, I was gonna go with like I think it was like a 2.2. You work 2.5 and you use 2.2 crank or something like that, or. It was a complicated setup, but it was like a high limit.
Because it ends up being a 2.5.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I was
Or
gonna do that.
2.27. I forget what it was.
Custom cylinder head.
So you can a little bit higher revving, a little more strung out, but still has more displacement than 2 liters, so it can handle a bigger turbo.
Yeah, it was when I was working for Vibrant, and we had a customer that tuned quite a number of Subarus, and he was known for making a lot of power on them, and I had do the shop for a lot of advice and whatnot, and I ended up not going with it, but wow, learning about the Subarus is big. I mean,
I didn't know how to build. Which one do you like better, the belts or the chains?
As far as tuning wise, the belt cars, just that the engines have been around for a while. The FA20s being direct injected engines and the WRXs and the higher compression, they get a little bit finicky.
What's the fuel pressure on the direct injector? It's got 2, right? You got a low pressure and high pressure?
Well, you got your low pressure pump in the tank, and then you got your high pressure pump driven off the can. So I think it's something like 14. It's like 14 grand. 14. I have to look that up.
What's the bed? You know? You remember?
It's a lot.
Like a C7? It's over 1,000.
Yeah, I know. I think it's Subarus are 14 to 1,700 psi.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's a lot.
but yeah, it is.
I mean, in the FA20s, they have their own merits again, just like any engine there. The good thing about them is turbo being down low off the exhaust manifold rather than being up high like the EJs. You can run a lot bigger turbo on them without too much lag. You can run front mount intercoolers on without any increased lag.
So you do like a up pipe, is it still similar to up
No,
pipe?
no, it is exhaust manifold,
Right,
turbo. The turbo is directly dead center of the engine in the front. So they got a little bit more weight down low in the front end of this car.
Got it.
So why don't y'all run in one? You figure keep them cool. They don't get hot running around the track?
They do. I mean, every car's going to. Really comes down to just, you know, if I were to do that, I'd have to get rid of something first. So, you know,
Put 2 of them.
um,
Those are greasy door.
Yeah, hey, congratulations to the door, man. I'm telling you right now, if you ever heard that door the last time, which I kind of like it. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like it.
Alright, so change
Sorry about that.
change up a little bit from the tuna side to the downforce and the aero stuff. Because once again, not only are you you're the only person I know around here that would do a Subaru, because obviously most are. But you're one of the few that actually works with downforce. When I say that, I see a lot of people may have items that they think contribute to it, but on your end, y'all actually go out and do testing and trial and error.
Testing as much as, I mean, we don't do any wool tufts on the car to see airflow. I mean, that's probably the next step needed to do. Would just be fill the car with some wool taped all around it. Just
Fill the car with wool?
No, on the outside. Tape. So you can see, you can video the airflow, and you can tell when it stalls. So you can see, so like, car's white. If I put black or yellow, not yellow, not white. Blue, a darker color on it, going around the track, have film a high-speed camera, you can see through various corners or going down a straightaway how the air goes over, because it's going to blow it a certain way. So if you've got wool that ends up, you want it flat up against the car, that means airflow's going where you want it to. If you've got it sticking up, you've got an area of turbulence.
So you put it under the car?
No, you're going to go on the top of it.
Alright.
So all across from the front bumper all the way down the car. That would be the one way that we would test. Ideally,
It's like carpet. It's like shag carpet.
yeah, just go to Hobby Lobby, go get a ball of yarn and tape it to the car, little 3-4 inch sections or something like that.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So the ideal way would be go to a wind tunnel, but that's thousands upon thousands of dollars, and I'm not a professional race team, so
Yeah.
that one's not going to happen.
Do you want to do a professional racing?
That's not
Is that like a
that's
goal?
not- Well, the whole reason why I started the business is because I want to drive at 24 hours of Daytona, 24 hours of Le Mans, and other endurance races. And I'm realistic in that the only way I think that's going to happen is if I own the car. So if I own the car, I do what I want with it.
Yeah.
You know, and just the, you know, just opportunity to say, hey, I've done that. Because how many people can say they've done something like that?
Some of the race teams that we service, I work on the Michelin race team for IMSA, and some of the teams that we service, they have a gentleman driver, similar to what you're speaking of. For those who don't know, a gentleman driver is a guy who maybe owns the car or maybe paid for the seat. That doesn't discredit him from being a solid driver. In fact,
Don't let Josh know you hear that.
was it Taylor? The guys, they have the track in their yard. They ended up winning just not too long ago. They commissioned Bush Brothers to race for their team. But
You're talking about the Taylor brothers?
yeah. Taylor Brothers.
Ricky Taylor and Jordan Taylor.
They were gentlemen drivers. No way, they weren't YouTube. They were gentlemen drivers. I'm telling you right now, those boys can cut it up with the best of them.
They can wheel
So, but yeah, I see that, and that's very realistic to happen. So keep that open.
That'd be cool. Just say you did the 24 hours, that right there, that's it's like the biggest race, isn't it?
I mean, it's the kickoff of the year.
Yeah.
That's what happens first. I think maybe major auto is that.
Just put Rolex on the side of your car and
Just show up.
Just show up. Yeah.
And then, like I said, the other thing, 24 hour Le Mans, which is the pinnacle of sports car racing for the world. And I mean, I've been to France once. I've never been to that area where the track is. If I ever go back, I'd love to, be in that area. But I watched it on TV enough. Like I said, I'm, only mid-30s and whatnot. But I'm to the point where I'm tired of being told what I can and can't do. And if I want to do it, we'll find a way to do it.
That's awesome.
Everybody else does.
We also got another good one with Sebring. We got 8 Hour of Mid Ohio. You got
Well, the good thing, at least with some of those tracks, is I can take my car there and do it. It would be expensive as hell because we're to
oh
France.
gosh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Just having the car
No.
shipped.
I would love at some point. I don't know that I'd be capable of the time to need to, but probably have to do something. See if I could build a car to compete at the World Time Attack Championships in Australia.
I have actually a friend that did that. William Engel.
Oh yeah, I know William. I've run with him a couple times. Grid Life and
So William is
Grid life.
yeah, and Global Time Attack.
William is a piece of work. So yeah,
He still has the record right now at Road Atlanta of 119 something. In a front-wheel drive Civic.
yeah. So there is a video of him.
It doesn't weigh 2,800 pounds either.
No,
Guys,
it plays less than that with him in it.
when he comes, I think he's coming up on, is it 14? When you go down?
No, 10A. He
10A.
came up on his record-breaking lap. He came up on traffic on the
You had no idea they
on
were
his
there.
lap.
Like, it was very uncomfortable to even watch it because he's coming down through there. He said he passed it at 100.
That wasn't the record-breaking lap either, because that was Grid Life. And the reason why I said is I remember the conversations that were had with the run group
Oh, they got bad.
at the end of that one, because they, and this is nothing against Grid Life, great organization. They had a lot more people than they anticipated come to Run Atlanta. And that was the first year they were there, because a lot of the people that were in the Midwest that support them never been to Run Atlanta, and that's a bucket list track for a lot of them. So there was a ton of people there, and what ended up happening was people were still on their out lap while the hot lap started. And there was some discussions behind the scenes that I'm not going to get into as far as trying to mitigate the risk at that point in time. But I know William was kind of hot, and a few others of us were kind of hot when we saw the video, that he crested a hill at 10A at 180 plus miles an hour, and there was a car still warming up his tires about to start his hot lap, going on to 10A.
When
And
he comes,
Yeah.
when I
it's
say
less than like a fraction of a second.
tenth of a second between him burying his car in the back of that one and moving to the side. He had the wherewithal that he let off the brake. He was hard on the brakes coming over it, let off, came to the left, and was back on. And
He didn't expect the car to be there.
No, he was not expecting the car.
No.
That's a reaction video. That should be going around the internet as a reaction video. What would you do when you were on this lap and you see this? It was.
Because out
A lot
on
of
track.
people freeze up, probably.
Well, I wouldn't say he would. The people who've been doing it a while would. If it was a person who's not as experienced as him, I think that situation would have turned out a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
I think there would have been.
You said less than a tenth of a second. I would have crammed right in.
Well, coming up over it, as I've gotten through track driving, and I know others can say the same thing. The faster you go, the more stuff slows down. Really, you're paying attention to you're not tunnel vision. You're paying attention to everything around you. I mean, if I were going down Backstreet Road Atlanta 150 miles an hour and you're in my passenger seat, I'll have a conversation with you just like we're having right now, and not bat an eye while you're freaking out trying to hold yourself in the car.
Yeah.
And it just comes down to experience of what you've done. So even though he wasn't expecting that car over it, coming over the hill, he still had enough experience that as soon as he crested and he saw the roof line of the car, you in the video, you just see the top of the car and you can see him start making his move. If there was anybody with any less experience, it's a tenth of a second, that reaction time would have been closer.
You can tell people don't have a good reaction. I wish
Well, and again, all that comes down to experience. And when it comes to the road course stuff,
Tracy would have gone over top of it. He didn't know it was telling before.
that's why coming up with me, and anybody can do it, and I advocate for it, that if anybody ever wants to go and learn how to drive your car in a high performance situation, mountain roads are not the place to do it. Doing it on the street roads are not the place to do it.
But autocross.
Autocross, yes, you can. But autocross is a different mentality than going road course.
Much slower, right? For the most part.
It depends. There was one autocross where I did reach triple digits in one time, and they changed the layout shortly thereafter. And that's not saying I was better or anything like that. It was just we were doing it with a I don't want to say the names, but just group of people. SCCA was there, but it was like a not a competition event, and they had laid it out just perfectly where I could get a jump coming out of one of the S's, and it was just long straightaway before a sweeping corner. And usually autocross, snowboard, and highway speed, 50, 60 miles an hour. So first gear's up to, so I was in first gear, so first gear ends at 35, second gear ends at 65. They hear me go up to third, top of third is 86, 87 miles an hour, and then they hear me pull in fourth, and still trucking down through there. So I think I stopped at, I think I hit the brakes at 105 miles an hour, which
Well, this
is
is
a little much
Facebook.
for an autocross.
It's not us, I swear.
I want somebody.
What's that?
Justin Walker, he said, get off your neighbor's Wi-Fi. Dude,
Hey,
we ain't even on Wi-Fi,
Hey.
man. It's just Facebook in general.
Tell-
Mark's out there throwing spears with
Tell
headphones
Walt.
on, and we're in here trying to have a
hey,
Conversation.
Big Money Walt, please send us over some help. Send us some poker chips and maybe a Wi-Fi dongle or something. That way we can get it going, man. We can't do it without you.
It's very slow. We was lucky to even get the microphone to start working again.
Yeah, hey, shout out.
Forrest,
to-
yeah, it keeps, it's fuzzy on this end too, but I mean, I'm recording it separately for, to put up, but I don't know why, it keeps kicking me out too.
Forrest, you better be at Union Friday.
Hey, yeah, Walt too, man. Unless you got some card playing to do.
But like I said, National Autosport Association, there are other track day groups out there. I've run with Jzilla Track Day, with Just Track It. There are several more out there. So they do a real good job of breaking up skill level. You usually have 4 separate groups where you've got novices, and then intermediate, and then you've got advanced, and then essentially more advanced as the 4th group goes.
Right.
And as you come in as a novice, you'll get an instructor. So they'll teach you as much as they can about what your car's capable of doing, and what you're capable of doing on track, and how to navigate it safely with others on track. Once you get to that intermediate group, you're usually by yourself, and you're kind of figuring out how to play well with others, is the way I say it.
Yeah.
And usually when you're going through that progression, if you're going regularly, you get a regular group of, I'd say 10 to 15 people that you're going to get to know, whether or not personally at the track, but at least their car and what their capabilities and tendencies are. Then you get in the intermediate and you start learning how to play well, even better with friends at higher speeds. And once you get to, level 4, or once you get competition license, then it's essentially, what you need to do at any point in time on track with whatever given situation. I mean, everything, things can change in a moment's notice, but as you progress through the groups, you'll get faster with the car, and as you get faster, the information coming in, you'll be able to filter out all the BS and focus on what's necessary. That's why I say as fast as you go, things start to slow down, because you're not focusing on the walls on either side of the road in Atlanta, how far you are from the grass. You know that already, how close you are to the rumble strips, where you're setting up for your turn in, your track out, all that stuff. Checking your mirrors, understanding as you're hearing cars come up and around you, not having to look where they are, but knowing where they are based off the sound. Also, sometimes when somebody comes up on you, depending on how much air is on the car, they'll kind of push, it'll give a little push one way or the other, so you kind of feel the car lean back on it, somebody's close to you or getting near you.
What about when it starts raining?
My car's a fair weather bitch. They don't go on track when it rains.
They do
But,
run in the rain.
but they do run in the rain. I mean, it brings a new challenge.
You have to swap tires though when you.
Most of the classes are running street tires, or at most 200 tread wear tires like
Something like a 888 or something.
You run street tires?
no triple would be like a 100 tread wear tire. So I'm talking like the Star Specs, the
Yeah.
BFG Rivals and Rival S's, those types of tires.
Something like an Archon.
Yeah. So something well, a street Archon, something that you can still go through standing water. Now I wouldn't put a R888, R888R, NT01, or any one of those through any standing water, because they're meant to filter out just a little bit. But if you go through a puddle, it's a pucker.
Now when y'all were at Road Atlanta, is it just because I've been for stuff very like 1 or 2 I think just days when it was open, and I've been of course like Formula D back in 2008 and stuff.
Yeah.
But is it similar to like a drag strip where there's fans watching? Like do people come watch even the smaller?
So
When I say smaller, not like
Jay-Z.
But the NASA and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what they'll usually on the track days, it's family and friends that you bring with you. we'll come, you park somebody there. There's usually some photographers there that are selling their services. That's usually who's there watching. Now, when you go to the competition stuff, there's sometimes magazines that'll show up there, depending on the media.
When you see it in Atlanta, they got bleachers. Not
Then
bleachers,
you do,
but
well,
they got
the
like,
biggest ones are when Global Time Attack comes around Atlanta, they partner with Formula Drift. So, still Time Attack is one of those sports where it's kind of difficult to televise because there's not action all the time. And and the whole point is to run as fast a lap as you can, given the rule set of your class, and not in traffic. So when they let us go out on the track, they're giving us 5-10 second spread on there, and and as the weekend goes along, as you get faster, everybody should get progressively faster. That you shouldn't really catch traffic on track unless you're on a cool down lap, and unless you're on a cool down lap and somebody's on a flyer, and then it's know where you got to get out of the way so you don't impede the lap. But when they come for Formula Drift, you do get, especially on because they do Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Friday afternoon, sometimes some fans, but Saturday, because they're there for practice too, there's a lot of people out there actually watching around 10, 8, 10. So that's when it gets good as far as physical spectators. Now, Global Time Attack has done a great job with social media and live streams and stuff, way better than what used to be, because that's what most people can enjoy. If you're not at track, you can sit at home and watch it here periodically on your phone. You can, when there's a break, you can go away and then wait for the next run group to come up. And they do a real good job with that, which I think is kind of the way of the sport right now, because like you said, it's not, basically right after qualifying, who really watches qualifying in Formula One, or, I will, because but for the most part, I don't pay attention to Formula
It's
One.
pretty fun to watch.
But for the most part, not many people are there to watch qualifying. They're there to watch beating and banging, especially NASCAR, beating and banging for however many hours.
Speaking of, what do you think about Formula One going to be at Miami next year?
Man.
But it's going to be in the parking lots, right? All the
It's
parking
gonna be
lots
like
put together.
it looks like it's like
Aren't they running the
The
street
Dolphin
course.
Stadium.
Yeah.
Around Dolphin Stadium.
It'll be. I hope they pull it off, but we'll wait and see how it goes.
Do you think it would be better than Circuit of the Americas? No. Just because
Well, no. I mean, the reason why they built Circuit of the Americas was for Formula One.
Yeah.
Everything they did from the start was
Yeah.
purpose for that.
It's a big
And
job.
then
That's
Australia
it.
Supercars
Yeah.
had Circuit of the Americas one year.
No, I enjoy watching them, but
Those are awesome.
those guys are nuts.
Yeah.
They're all-
Honestly, they had an opportunity to do Miami, like Long Beach.
Mhm.
Long Beach was, you got Long Beach, and what is it in Canada? They had a street. Was it Canada, or they had
No,
another?
there's it was in Detroit.
Yeah.
I forget Isle something. I forget what it is.
That right there, I mean, they could have really done Miami, and it would have looked. Azerbaijan is what it would be similar to.
Yeah.
So.
At the Performance
I
Center,
got
the
that
past
right.
couple of years, I've seen, we have.
Oh, yeah, he works at the performance center.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
They haven't,
He sees injuries and stuff all the time.
they haven't come through there in the past couple of years. The one lap of America, would you have any interest in doing that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've wanted to do it, but usually I know of a few people who have done it and whatnot, and I just haven't. Again, it's always getting time away from the shop, and
Mhm.
I know I can do what I want when I want, but at the same time, I just
Yeah.
bit busybody. You got to be at the shop and get stuff done. But no, that's one thing I thought about building a car for. And at one point, I was gonna try to do the Evo as one, but then I stripped the interior, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
That discussion for that car.
So is that more like your, is that more like your personal hobby, or does your shop cater to, I know you do the Subarus and Evos and
Mhm.
stuff, do y'all build a lot of cars for people that do that kind of thing? Or is that what you want to do?
We'll get people. I mean, we have a few customers that do track stuff, and mainly they're starting out in the DE, the driver education ladder of whatever group they're running with. So I mean, we'll do pre-track inspections, fluid flushes, stuff like that, making sure your car's track worthy. As far as building a car, I mean, we don't really do much fabrication. very, very light. When I say light, I mean we'll do a little bit of exhaust stuff here and there, but it's very, very rare that we do, just because I do the welding and I'm not ready to put my welding, have somebody's life dependent on it right now. So, but I mean, as far as we've done, I mean, like I said, we've worked on a couple cars too that have been track prep that we're doing. I mean, I got one at the shop right now. We're doing an engine in. Just got it back. He's from Florida, so he runs a place like Sebring. I forget where else he goes to. Noah Motorsports Park.
The motor side has to be a niche market, because I don't know if really anyone around here builds. I guess the machine shop will put it together.
I mean, the machine shops do, and I mean, there's some good machine shops around. There's some bad machine shops around. Just same with any other shop or any other business. As far as what we do on our engines and how we do things, it's based upon our experience on track and what cars typically need. You typically need to make sure of course, the same thing in drag racing. Oiling capacity and pressure.
Yeah, I saw y'all use the improved racing stuff.
Mhm.
So we use that. We figured that out the hard way. Actually, Tracy figured that out the hard way. Remember, that's why the cop car kept popping bearings.
Okay.
On the launch, sloshing the oil to the away from
Yeah.
the
So
or on shutdown.
so like an F body, and which is what I run, is everyone thinks it's a rear sump. It's not. It's a rear like capacity. Like all the oil sits in the back of the pan, but it's this long, and the pickup is in the front of that. So it's kind of like a rear sump, but it's not really a rear sump. So like, we would leave the line and we'd have like 4 pounds of oil pressure at 7,200 RPMs. And then I put that improved racing baffle and I had like 70.
Started it for oil.
We've what we've done on the Evo, we have starting getting the problems with the air on right-hand turns, pickups on the passenger side on the engine. So rolling the road was where it started doing it. I'd set my alarm on the oil pressure gauge for 30 psi, and every hard right-hander, which is almost every turn of that track, it would dip and hit the warning. So we ended up getting AccuSump oil accumulator, and that kind of solved the problem. I didn't have any issues after that, but it's really a band-aid for what would work ultimately, which would be going to a dry sump.
That's what I was about to ask. You wouldn't just make them all dry sump cars.
See, my buddy had that issue, Doug Wynn.
Oh yeah, I'm friends with Doug.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's one of those one-line cars that he was talking about.
It dry sump, at least on an Evo. I mean, it's a $5,000 to $7,000 investment to do it.
That's a lot.
But it solves the problem.
It's cheaper than building 2 motors.
Yes, it is. It is cheaper to
That's
build.
what I tell people. They ask me why I don't run the E85 anymore. I run the race fuel, and I say, you know what? It's cheaper to buy that 100-gallon, big or $100 5-gallon buckets of race fuel than it is to put a motor together again. So.
And go somewhere, a destination race, pay for your weekend, pay for your gas there, pay for your trip there, pay for somebody to come help you if you're gonna take a buddy along or something like that, versus just going and having a good weekend.
Yeah, I don't want no more oil problems. I didn't have. I called mine early. I didn't have any problem with it, but I now fixed them. But I think Tracy, we put 3 set of bearings in that motor before we figured out what was going on. I think we thought the crank was messed up, but it was actually
Catch it before
it's a
it
CTSV
crank.
pan on that one, I think, which is it does the same. I think a CTSV might be a front pickup.
I think so.
Front song.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you though. If you could go and race 2 tracks in the United States, aside from the ones that we've talked about, which ones would you do and why? This is the over question.
No,
There's so many
A lot of tracks.
I think 2 I really want to go to would be Road America and Mazda Minnesota. Those are the 2 ones
I remember that one.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that would stop me from going to the Minnesota would be the decibel.
Yeah.
I'd have to borrow a car for that one.
So, Redline Time Attack World Championships, 2007. I'm there with my buddy Woody, who's driving a K-Series Integra. On Sundays when you race there, for those of you watching, You have, what is it, 93? It's not even
Some,
95.
no, it's something ridiculously low. The
93
decibel limit.
decibel limit, and you can only race from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. Because people ball the houses around
Houses
there.
and
They're
churches.
they're trying really hard to.
What's 93 decibels?
Well,
Really quiet.
Z06, C5 Z06 or C6
My Tahoe
Stop.
would ping it.
will ping it. So what they'll
You know
do?
that people are watching too. They're waiting.
Oh yeah. So they have a meter. They have a meter off the grounds that can tell you about what it's
Yeah.
going to be.
Which track is this?
This is Laguna Seca.
Okay.
So what they do is, and we'll go back to the internet.
The Laguna
People
Pipe.
laugh and they call it the Laguna Pipe, and all these people who aren't from there, they think, oh, Bryson or whatever like that. They'll make comments, and it's like people are doing anything. And I'm talking. It doesn't matter how much money you come out there with. You come out there with a 430 with a Novitec exhaust, they're gonna probably turn you around. The first lap, if you do 100 or something like that, you're gone. You're like 100 decibels.
So I don't remember where they said the meter is, but it's outside the track. So what they do is they'll put a 90-degree pipe that comes out the back of the car and point it inside.
And it's
And a lot of
hilarious.
times they'll have
dryer
they'll-
hose, whatever.
and also they'll sometimes put an extra they'll have a muffler on the car and then a muffler on the 92. And
Yeah.
some of them are still too loud.
So,
Yeah, I saw a Corvette out there that Tanner Faust was driving. That trip, he drove two cars. He drove a Corvette and he drove a Subaru. He ended up blowing the engine in the Corvette and flipped the Subaru. Before he's even going up towards the corkscrew. They turned the car over, banged it out, and he's back on track.
so when they did, like, it was a race out there, what was the?
No, they have special exhausts that they run on those cars. For the
Oh
race.
yeah. Yeah, like if you see a F1 car or something there, it knows because there's a track in Europe that's similar. There's a track in Europe that has a decibel limit as well. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Spa?
I think it's Spa or Imola.
So this is a good transition because we're talking about stuff that limits tracks,
Oh boy.
and we have that same thing happen. Drag strips. All over the country have that same problem. Greer's got that problem. Obviously, about once every 2 years, people get their feelings about the noise limit when they moved into a track that's been there for 40 years.
Yeah.
But we got some news today
Oh, yeah.
about Palm Beach.
Woo.
And have you heard about that? So this is hearsay. I was,
Rumor mill's floating on that.
yeah.
It looks real strong though.
It's Walmart, right?
Yeah.
So Walmart has or is looking into acquiring Palm Beach International as they'll probably turn into like a
Distribution center.
Yeah.
That's
That's
yeah,
dead.
heard
That's
about that?
unfortunate.
Maybe find some stuff on it and let us know. I
Yeah.
didn't have time to really look it up too much today,
Some hearsay.
but it does happen to tracks. There's tracks up north closing at least one track a year.
E-Town was probably the biggest.
Is that,
English Town?
Yeah,
That was.
English
Ooh. That's sad. 'Cause that track is historic.
But these road courses have way more land.
Well, they're
That's
starting.
true.
I mean, they're starting to have some problems. I mean, Road Atlanta has sound limits. They've got quiet hours during church hours again. The track's been there for I don't remember how long, but of course, people move in like, oh, well, live here, and then they want to complain about the noise. It's like moving in next to the damn
You
airport,
moved
complaining
in.
about planes going
Yeah.
over top of your house.
I heard there was an airport guy I work with is up from Rhode Island somewhere. He said there's an airport up there with the people that, when they started to move in near it, they complained so much the airport bought all their windows. When they would build the houses, they paid for the windows and stuff like that.
Well,
The airport would pay for it.
And then you gotta think about what is it? Turner Field in Atlanta. If you're a baseball fan,
Right.
those people moved in. They got mad about the baseball on the days and ended up moving the baseball field. Yes,
That's why the baseball field moved.
that's a lot of that reason, and it's definitely been talked about. Like it was in the papers. It was all over the place.
So you think PBR or what?
I think it's a goner. Here's one PBR. That's how I'm feeling on it.
What's that other track I know they used to run Formula Drift? I don't know if they do it anymore. The
Orlando.
Wall, Evergreen Speedway?
Oh yeah, no. The Wall, New Jersey. It's actually in Wall, New Jersey. They shut
Okay.
that one down
They shut
for
it down.
apartments. or a neighborhood or something. That was a fun track because it didn't have that much room
Yeah.
before you ramped up, and if you got into the way the track was, I was usually in the media pit, and the way the track was is the gravel, like basically it was a gravel track. It felt like it was asphalt, but it was broken and just. It was just one of those good tracks that you really like to go to and just spin your wheels, but it would eat your tires alive. And once you get up on that bank, if you clip into that railing at all, it's gonna eat your car. I mean, you weren't gonna bounce off of it. It was gonna start to take pieces of your car with you. And when they come off that bank, they are hauling when they come off that bank. I shot that event 5 or 6 times, and Wall, New Jersey was wonderful to go to because it was so close to New York, so close to the other places, and it's sad to see tracks get shut down like that. I mean, Atlanta, like we talked about just recently, is getting shut down. There was a place in Tennessee that had a little problem just recently outside of Nashville. We already know that I don't see anything like Bowling Green going anywhere, but also I could see Detroit, anything outside of Detroit going, because once the real estate boom happens there, you know, they're going to get, I mean, they're already getting that land cheap, but.
Wonder if they do it in other places though, like other places in the world that shut them down like this.
Well, they're really trying to shut Laguna Seca
Not really.
down.
It's just prime real estate.
Yeah, and that's
it's
what-
land that's taken up for it. I mean,
Laguna Seca is beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. The way the land lays out. If you had a neighborhood there, the houses, I mean, everything around it too is really expensive.
So you think they just don't make enough money?
no, I think
Because if they had enough money, they could just tell
part of it, in my opinion, on it is people coming in, like I said, the sound plan. I think some of it is too, and you know, I'm sure you've all seen it, like people leaving events,
Yeah, like
acting out.
Oh yeah.
I don't go to Grid that often because again, I'll every once in a while go just screw around or whatnot. But you know, even leaving there, how many people all ass up and down that little road? You know,
Clint.
you know, leaving Road Atlanta too on our bench.
Yeah.
And it's not the people who are racing and competing. It's the spectators who have whatever car they're like, I want to go fast and.
you know when you don't do that, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't do that in
No.
Charlotte.
No.
There's actually there's another track that's having a little issue too. I heard that right outside of Charlotte or whatever, they built that new road course track or whatever. They've had offers on that already. They have had offers to purchase it. And I mean, you gotta think tracks like, I mean, what Cletus bought. You know, he helped that. Vic actually helped him acquire that. Victor, who owns Bradenton, really good friend of mine right there, young guy. Both tracks were available. There's been Valdosta changed hands. Orangeburg, Orlando. The tracks are coming available. I mean, and also look at the age of the owners too. Like, not downing older people. Please don't take me like that, Facebook. I have no problem with older people in motorsports. I'm just trying to say that, like, once somebody's 70, 80, 90 years old and they've had this land for X amount of years, maybe they don't have a son that wants to take it over, or maybe the family wants to go in a different direction with it. I see them online all the time. So-and-so for sale. Nebraska, out where 1320 is, they had a track for sale in either Nebraska or Oklahoma that everybody wanted to get together and buy. But I see it coming soon where we're going to see some tracks that we don't think are going to be going up for sale, and you're going to see guys like Walmart or Amazon going to come in because after 2020 they'll go into some money that they got from online orders versus the lack of events that 2020 put racing. If you had to shut down, you're in the South, you really didn't shut down as much. But if you were in another place where you didn't have a choice and you had to shut down, 2020 hurt you bad. Especially if you had repaved your track, put up new tower, new equipment. You invested money and then you kind of couldn't get it up off of that bubble. And you were asked out.
Here comes Amazon. I give you X amount.
And then for them, what it is, they can even offer you double what you want, because for them, they're probably gonna make that investment back, no joke, off of that distribution center.
Oh,
What, a week? Maybe. And then, you know, they can tax up on it and say, we paid this much for this property. They're not gonna get looked at for a value. They're not gonna have to pay taxes on it, depending on how the state goes and what kind of incentive they're getting from the state. So then now, hey, here's just basically a free piece of land that we get to build our own city on, and we can build not only a distribution center, but more server housing.
I think too, some of the struggle in it is, like you said, that you've got an older generation that has been in it and wants to get out of it. But you have a younger generation coming in that, and this isn't, you know, the especially after 2020 and going forward, the availability of loans and business loans, the type of loans that you can get, because not a lot of people have, you know, on the younger crowd will have the cash on hand to make that big purchase or make a big enough dent to where somebody's gonna, you know, anything automotive, especially right now, is higher risk than other businesses. I think whether it's a shop, whether it's a racetrack, whether it's accessories, your manufacturer, something like that. I think there's a lot of volatility right now that it's hard for people to invest in it and to have the capital to be able to invest in it because the banks aren't behind it as much because it's, you know, the alphabet people are cracking down on our sport, and I'm not going to get on the soapbox about it, but I think our generation has come as a
20? 10?
For what?
Oh, sorry. We getting some low battery. Don't let us hurt y'all. Continue.
Did it die?
No, we good. We 20%. We 20%. When we started, we were at 50.
Yeah.
So it's looking. I know we'll be able to close it out.
But
no rush.
We ain't got too much longer.
I think you know some of it is that
It keeps. That's when it keeps. That's Verizon. That's what it's.
I think less younger people are willing to get their hands dirty to get what they want, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean all of us are in the car world. You know, oil and shit on you all day long, but I don't think it's not the glamour job that gets, you know, shown in front of everybody. It's not what everything's about when you go to school. I mean, even when I went through high school and stuff like that, it's like, go to college, get a good job. It was never build anything for yourself. And that's not faulting anybody or anything like that. It's just, you learn, and some people have success with it, some people don't. Some people have the mentality and personality for it, others don't. But I think, and at least in this area, I feel we've started to get
And will somebody that's younger want to keep with the racing aspect of it and go through all the legalities?
Yeah. Because there's more hoops and it's more risk involved. I mean, even just getting, you know, insurance for a shop that deals in automotive is, you know, a lot of different legalities involved, things you have to look out for, and what you do and how you do it, and who you do it with. That, you know, it's a lot more expensive overall to do anything automotive than if you set up a coffee shop or, you know, a retail store or something like that.
Well, not only that, you also have the differences in the clientele that are coming into automotive. And this is no dig. This is a very, very short soapbox, but we can all get in on this. So, I went recently to a stance event. I'm probably the worst person on the planet when it comes to picking on stance cars, but my eyes were really open because I went to an event in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Riverside. Wonderful event, absolutely. I had a great time. I could not believe the money that came into the event, and I couldn't believe the abundance of like the vendors. When we see a vendor pull up in racing, a lot of times order big rig, or they may pull up with like a Brown, and these guys are rolling up in like the newest diesel truck, and they're rolling up in big double stackers and whatnot. It's filled with apparel, and I'm watching these guys. I don't want to call them names, but it's nothing negative. It's just like I don't really know much about the stance scene, and I'm watching them sell out of shirts. I'm talking about it's been happening since 15.
Yeah, no, I'd say so. Like, you know, the drag race at the local track, and again, this is nothing against anybody and anything anybody does, kind of gets the stigma of old guy with old Chevy 350 and all his buddies,
Yeah.
tweaking on it. It's not a lot of the younger guys. I mean,
I already got drawback for saying something about Saturdays. I can't go in.
I think the 864 list.
He's coming here to get learned.
Woo! Woo!
This game?
He's on board.
Can somebody
6'6".
can somebody put a camera on that car? I mean that car right there. Tom, please.
But a lot of you don't see vendors come out to Greer in that way or to wear shoals or anything like that. And I think most of the stuff, and I've got, when I lived in New York, I've got a friend that he's now living in Florida, started a company, clothing company, Luckless Clothing. He would start out small, selling stuff at events, stuff like that, and then their big thing is, they would set up booths at small places or fairs or something like that, and then mud truck events and stuff like this, and just shirts sell more than car parts.
Yeah.
Why? Because
Anybody can buy it.
$30 versus $3,000.
Yeah.
And nowadays, $30 doesn't have the same ring to it or same sting when you pull that out of your wallet, or especially when you swipe your card. Nothing really hurts when you swipe that
No,
plastic.
not at all.
Versus $3,000. It's not a big deal to throw that down because it's a small amount. You don't really think about it until you look at your bank account later and go, where did it all go?
What can we do other than merchandise from like shirts? I want to see other stuff.
I'm working on some of that right now myself, and it's a task. I've made 2 shirts coming up here soon, and making like hats and stuff like that. It's a task because you don't want to go and get the same old thing that everybody else has. You want something that someone can enjoy, but at the same time, you don't want to get something cheap just to put it out there as a brand because then it makes you look bad.
Well, like have you seen at Motion Raceworks they got a checklist? Y'all have your own like checklist that each car come in, they're gonna do something on the road course or always something here's 10 extra bucks, $5, here's our checklist, and then like a log binder or something.
Yeah.
It's not much, but
No,
it's
it's
attractive
something.
you're looking at it and it's something.
And it's just like what we do is we got the stickers for the cars. Anybody that wants a sticker gets a sticker. We have T-shirts and stuff like that. And first we tried to kind of sell them, and they really wouldn't go. But you give something free to somebody that's inexpensive, they're gonna take it and they're gonna wear it. So we would start. Small things, little big things.
I got a new koozie for work. It's green. I think that's a green color that you guys use. And everybody at my work is asking me about what's going on with this koozie.
And really too, if you've got a bunch of free little knickknacks or something like that next to stuff that you're selling, if somebody grabs a freebie, they're more likely to actually spend money than if you're just selling.
Free.
Yeah, because they kind of feel obligated a little bit. That hey, you're giving me something.
Koozies.
Don't use it because the second that you use it, you're gonna be like, koozie. It makes me feel like I'm holding a tennis ball. I don't know.
I love it though.
I love that color.
So I'm not like a marketing person, but some things I'm decent at. So like when we go to make stuff, I don't really care how it looks. I just want it to be different. So everyone's got a black koozie. Like I got a fridge full of black koozies. So the lady was like, "What color do you want?" I want the brightest. Like I want it to look like you're standing on the side of the road telling me to slow down or go.
Different shades of purple. I hope you guys don't mind purple. Me and this guy, we've been going back and forth on the purple, and it's kind of like one of those. Is this guy gonna wear this at the track?
Not all shirts have to be black.
No.
But it's
I
very
don't want
hard.
black. I don't want black.
But none of them can be white because white shirts they get dirty and.
I made a light gray batch this last time, and it's like a church shirt. Like you can't wear it anywhere else. I'm gonna wear it to the track, to the shop.
Well, you gotta think about what colors hide sweat well.
I want something that somebody can go out and drink
Not
with,
great.
like what I got on. It's a car shirt, but I can go drink or I can go like or something.
I like it.
It's got a little different cut to it, makes my fatness not look so bad.
But possibly there's stuff that y'all could make for like your little niche group, because really, and when I say that I mean like in my opinion, which is completely meaningless because they're not my stuff.
There you go. Hey, you let his feelings.
That like y'all basically have a lock.
My phone, I didn't pull out my camera or nothing. This is I have to take an L.
It's the day of the Facebook update, but
Well,
nonetheless, and I'll try and think about it too. But there's got to be something that, like for me, I would like to start selling fender covers that don't take up the entire fender. Right. The point of them is to cover the tire. But when you go to like the drag events, they put a fender cover on it to like cover the tire from the sun. It literally takes up like the whole quarter panel. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
But when you go to store it, like that's just more to store and carry around. So maybe a better thing would be a smaller one. So like for y'all, maybe something would be like track wipes or something like that to tire down or do something like that. And it's easy to brand them and throw them out there and
yeah,
stuff like that.
little accessories.
It's easier to sell than a shirt. Shirts are hard to sell.
That. We've looked at some things and we've talked about some stuff internally, and really ends up being, when it comes down to, like I said, we've got a good niche, we've got a good place we're
You
at.
do the hose kits, don't you?
Yeah.
So
We have some products. The difficult thing it is in our world to sell stuff like that is that I have to compete with people like Cobb Tuning, IG Performance, stuff on that where, it is I have a kit. It is very well made. Use quality hoses, quality fittings, but I can usually come in. I don't ever mean to undercut anything. I come in like right at or just below what their price on our stuff and try to add value to it. Like most of the products when you get a hose kit, you have to take off certain things or intake manifold or something like that. So I provide intake manifold gaskets in the kit, which is not something that is usually provided.
Yeah.
I'll provide all the zip ties you need. I'll provide vacuum tees.
check out this hose. I don't mind. What do you think of the quality of that? You can say that it's bad. We already know that.
I'll say it's got a pinch.
Dude, that's the hose at the top. The top.
Are
company-
these vibrant fittings or?
That's the hose
they're
that
not.
the top
No, they're not.
public company in the automotive industry for like drag racing sent to me with my fuel rails. I'm not even gonna use it.
No, let me see.
It's an Earl's fitting.
It's an Earl's fitting.
I guess it came with a poly fuel rail. So.
That's a.
How terrible is that? Just look at the hose. Look up.
There shouldn't be spaces.
You can have that if you want.
No. We want, it says on the wall.
Not even put it in the trash. I'm not running
But
that.
the places I do compete. The products they come to are better than what that one is. I don't.
I was actually
But,
embarrassed. I
but
didn't think it-
the problem with that is they've got, problem for us, but good for them, is that they've got the marketing in place and the customer base and the product recognition already that their rails are the best or whatever's the best, that's what's coming with it. So they don't really have to sell their product
Yeah.
or the product's perceived quality sells itself. Whereas when I'm competing with these other places, like, why should I get your hose kit versus IAG or Cobb or whoever it is? So then I have to explain, well, here's what I use instead. Here's the line. It's rated for ethanol, but I don't do the PTFE. And decently on the hose kits that we've done just a few dress up stuff, but most of our stuff when we sell our products that we make in the hose kits or anything like that is when a car comes in for a build. Hey, instead of IGs or Cobbs or somebody else's, we can make you one. It's going to be this price. It's going to be less. It's going to be great quality. Run with routed. We prefer the way we route things because we can get around larger turbos or anything like that. Where when it comes with a prefab kit, it's all encompassing that sometimes to get around a larger turbo or different inlet or different intake manifold, you kind of tweak things and modify it. So I'd rather just do it from scratch right off the bat. I know roughly what lengths we need and fittings we need anyway. Application into body or panels or anything like that to route lines and electrical components and other stuff through anywhere. And again, make it like it was meant to be there from factory.
That's the
Like
idea.
there was a purpose that it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that there was a purpose behind why it was done, and it was executed as such.
I agree.
And that should be the way anybody does it. I feel it does any custom work or anything like that. I've seen,
Yeah, well, that's
and I know you've seen it too. Just some of the stuff that comes through that you're like, you paid somebody to do this.
yeah.
We got on that conversation about a week and a half ago, didn't we? Me and you,
Yes.
saw a really botched job with stuff all over the place.
You
But
said-
and again, I'm not saying I'm
That's
perfect
why
and
I'm
I do
doing it.
everything. I do everything the right way the first time, and I can't tell you how many times I've redone something because I don't like the way it looks.
But I'll
I
tell
don't like
you,
how it's routed.
both of you guys, like having that mindset, me as the customer, let's just take it for example. My white car, I was flying all over the place. There was no way I could have put that thing together. My buddy helped me, and he did an amazing job, I think, considering all the wiring in there, all the custom welding and whatnot. Guys that have a car and they're gonna pay for it, if they're not trying to be prideful and build it for themselves, or they don't have that skill set, they're looking for your skill set. They're thankful that you are in business. They are thankful.
I'll take pictures because from the like regular viewpoint, like your eye, you might not catch something. But like if you've been a fogger, right? If you take a picture of it, you'll be like, yeah, well, I don't really look right. Like when you look at it from a picture, it looks completely different. So like a lot of times, like when I do wiring, I take pictures, and then when it leaves, the same thing for y'all. You know, shit, I'll do it because you know that customer when he leaves, he's gonna go be like, God, here's a picture, and he's gonna post it online. And there's many times like you get online, and for me, I ship wiring.
And you go, shit, I missed that.
Yeah, so like I'll ship them like a wiring harness, and I'll have all the relays like nice and neat. And by the time it gets there from shipping, like maybe one wire is like bent down,
Yeah.
and I'm like, ugh, I wish you hadn't posted that. And I was like, John. So now we zip out of that guy, and I put cardboard over them.
I do that daily with my job in graphic design and visuals. I look at something and I try to get up and walk off from it. I'll send myself pictures to my cell phone. I'll screenshot it and send it to my cell phone.
You can do it with fuel line, you can do it with anything.
I'll be like,
The camera really
I miss
brings it
this.
out.
I'll look on my cell phone, but what are you thinking? Instantly when I try to hand somebody my cell phone, I mean, heck, with the video I sent you guys this morning,
Yeah.
it's not what you saw when I did that upload.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely different.
Yeah, it looked good.
Yeah.
But it was completely different
Yeah.
from what I originally sent you.
Yeah.
And as we're building things on the car, I mean, if we're going from fuel tank up to the front, I'm routing the zip tying at the same time up front like it's gonna lay, so I know I have the exact right length all the way up, and I build the fitting on the car.
Yeah.
Or I'll cut it the way I need to, because I know how much space I need to leave at the end of it before the fitting and what that measurement is, and then it's, pull back off the car, take it to the vise wherever I need to. Stainless steel lines I can usually do by hand right there, but if it's a nylon braided, it's kind of a little bit more difficult. Larger hoses are easier than smaller hoses to do, and build it, route it how I want to. And I can't tell you how many times I've done it, multiple times or routed. Or you when you start putting you take so many things off, and as you do it, you're building piece by piece by piece, and then once you see the whole thing together, it's like I could route this a little bit better or differently or anything like that. And then it's like, well, let me take this part back off, or how difficult is it, or
I'll change it. Josh was here when I built that intake for him the other day. I had the whole entire one side of it done. Got ready to do the other side, and I was like, standing back here looking at it, I was like, no, I'm going to change it. He's like, really? Yeah, we'll change it all.
I think that's one of the worst things about being a business owner.
Meticulousness.
Yeah, just you're like, do I want my name on that? Do I want that out there? And then can I make it look that? And at some point you have to stop yourself from doing it because
you want the customer to put your name on it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you didn't even
it.
do it.
Yeah.
But they will,
Yeah.
if it comes from there, they will think you did it.
I wish that that mindset that you guys have translated into homes a lot of times. A lot of times you get a real boss job.
Well, and like what you said, where I can't tell you how many times I've seen on Facebook Marketplace a car that's been put together and that we touch that has my name on it.
So I think this is good.
Well,
and I wish more shops did it. I asked the converter company when I sold that FTI converter. I said, I'm not talking about FTI converter. I said, when I go to sell this when it gets back, can the guy call you and verify? He knows it's getting shipped back, and he call you and verify that it's a legit brand new converter now from you.
Yeah.
And they're like, yes. And I was like, okay. Now people do all all day. And they're like, oh, we get 20, 30 calls a day. People just wanting to know, like, is this the converter that this person said? I was like, you need to have like a database.
Yeah,
like
it gets
driver license trigger.
It gets kind of difficult to do that because then if something, you get the stigma of you're charging for making a sale, or you're charging for that little bit of time. I guess everybody's time is valuable whether you're working in the business, the owner, the customer, whatnot. But it's just one of those things that you dedicate your time to, and you hope that hey, that person does come through if if it was a vehicle that you didn't actually work on, and we did with them if there are any issues about it or anything like that. And sometimes we've had somebody contact us a car that had an issue that we may have looked at and diagnosed, but we didn't dive in and fix it, and they go to sell it. And sometimes we'll get the new potential buyer will call us and whatnot like that. Before we go any information with it, like, well, hey, we don't talk about customer information with other customers or potential customers. Let me contact them and see if they're okay with us talking about it. If they say we're okay, we'll let them know.
Pull the file.
Hey, here's what's going on with the vehicle. That we did work on. It's like, yeah, we worked on it. Here's what we did too. Especially if there's something that they missed in the ad or whatnot. Like what? And I was like, hey, what do you think about this? Or hey, there's some stuff I want to change. What would you change? So sometimes you do have the opportunity to continue working on that car even after it's changed hands. Which I think is cool, because then you kind of build a relationship with the car, and you know the ins and outs of
So
it.
the car stays with you, just new owner.
Just new owner. I mean, it's happened numerous times and whatnot. That's just the nature of the car.
You gotta want to come by your shop, man.
You should go see it.
I've never-
Actually, you should go see it. That'd be a great shot for a photo.
Think so.
Photo thing.
Yeah.
Or like video.
Yeah.
No guy does this.
So before all the phones die, I really appreciate you coming. I've really enjoyed learning. I don't know anything about the Subarus or the road course stuff very much, so it's definitely.
Well, we need to put some aerial on the tank.
Yeah, we did. So we did talk about that a while back.
Oh, no,
it's not. You can we did talk about that a while back, about how aero can be used in drag racing. We know. So everyone puts a wing on it. Whether not most of the time, everyone puts a wing on it, regardless of whether it's functional or not. Is what I will say. And there might be better ways to contribute to downforce on a car instead of throwing 300 pounds back or something. And I'm not saying that's the wrong way to do it, but if there's a better way, we can take note from people that use aero downforce to do it. But we'll see. We'll save that for a live feed when Facebook's not updated.
Yeah, Facebook kind of shook you guys to the core tonight.
It's because he wore his earmuffs throwing a spear.
We still got some ride or die people out there. Thank you, everybody who
But
tuned in.
we have been getting everybody that's been on a live feed to sign the table.
Oh yeah,
The gold pen is better than the Sharpie. For some reason, Sharpie wears off.
Yeah.
So as big as you want.
Don't tell me that one. I'll take it all day.
The whole idea behind the live feed is that it shows that we've got lots of people in the area doing stuff. There's no reason for everybody to be like against each other. We're all here. We all, for the most part in the area, a lot of us have the same customers, and we can all help each other in some way.
Well, one of the things I try to preach in any car group I'm in, I don't know if anybody else gets a little cringy about it, but I don't, regardless of whether anybody's purchasing purchase service from me or anybody else in the upstate, think local first when you make your parts purchase. Quit asking what's the best website to buy my parts from. Start asking what's the best local shop I can get my parts from. Because local customer service, when you can walk in there and ask questions when you need to, is a lot better than having to wait on a phone call for somebody out in California for parts you bought that may or may not be working on your vehicle.
Yeah.
Especially if it's 10 o'clock in the morning and they're not awake yet.
Mm-hmm.
I got
So-
a race tomorrow.
Yep.
So, well, I would say, you know, and I always do in my business, I always go local for everything as much as I can before I go out of state for
And you
anything.
got a slogan that you can never post. Like, no gimmick. What is it?
No tricks, no gimmicks, no number fudging, just results. Just
Yeah.
because I would use another word, but fudging was more
Yeah.
professional.
Yeah. You have to be careful these days.
Yeah.
People get hurt about something.
I mean, it's straight to the point is what we do. I mean, I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm very blunt and straight to the point. I'm gonna tell you if something's gonna work, and I'm gonna tell you if it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
If it don't work, take it off. And you know, sometimes it ruffles some feathers, but you know,
mhm.
I'm not gonna say gimmick and trick just to make a buck. I'm gonna say, you know, if I'm gonna say something that's gonna work and it's gonna be proven to work.
And when you specialize in something, you know what's going to happen. So.
And again, I'm gonna bring up the race again this weekend.
Yeah, I wanna
Everybody
know
watching, come on out to Union Dragway for the 864 Outlaws. A lot of good guys putting this race together. Matt Smith, Performance 5, is going to be there selling
Nice.
t-shirts, koozies, hats, maybe a hoodie. Go in there, buy some merch from him, buy one of everything.
While you're over here.
Maybe get on the list, buy a rear end, get a roll cage put in there. So it's going to be a good time, for sure.
Yeah, we'll be out there. So Thursday,
Thursdays,
Greer.
tomorrow, Greer.
Friday, Union.
Yep. Saturday, Orangeburg.
Orangeburg. Sunday, Union.
List race
Yep.
tomorrow?
Yes.
Ooh. I'm definitely going to be a Greer. Hopefully, Mother Nature works with us.
I hope so.
I didn't say that, by the way. I ain't trying to jinx us.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Don't wash your cars.
It's going to be a
That's
great next
true.
couple of days of racing. Y'all come on out, have a good time.